In this session, we are having a performance test of a 4-stroke single cylinder diesel engine. So in this case, it's a single cylinder diesel engine which works on CI Technic, and it is being connected to a mechanical loading system, and this engine is a water cooled engine. Before we conduct any further experiments, these are some of the observations that has to be taken care. So we have lower heating value of diesel engine, diesel fuel is 44,000. That's what we are taking up as a constant. But when it comes to an actual case, it might vary even in different locations. It might not be same. Moving on, we have a specific gravity of a diesel as 0.9. Orifice dia is 18 millimeters. So orifice dia is being taken care to measure the flow rate of the air. To measure the flow rate of the air, we are using the orifice and we have a water flow for the cooling system, and that is 3 liters per minute is the what we are going to set it, which is also equivalent to 3 kg per minute. Specific heat of the water usually is 4.187, and to make it to round it off, it's 4.19 kilojoules per kg degree Celsius. Along with it, we have a brake drum radius of 0.1 meters. We have a diameter of the cylinder as 0.0875 meters, and stroke as 0.11 meters. So this is a typical observation. Once the observations are noted, we have the tabular column which consists of a speed. So even though we are conducting the experiment on a constant speed, so here 1500 RPM will be kept constant in spite of varying the loads. The constant speed is what we are going to conduct the experiment on, and we have the load. We have time taken for 10 ml of fuel consumption, which is going to be in terms of seconds. So manometer reading, which is going to be a H1 and H2, has to be noted on, and in turn we have to calculate delta H. We have T1, T2, T3, T4, which represents inlet and outlet temperature of the exhaust gas. We have T3 and T4 as inlet and outlet temperature of cooling water supplied to the exhaust gas calorimeter. So this is the experimental setup. We have a single cylinder 4-stroke diesel engine. So we also have an flywheel connected to the crankshaft, and we have a decompression lever that is being used for ease of start. While cranking, we'll open the decompression lever, and then we can close it. So we have an extended shaft that is being connected to rope type brake drum. We have a water connection connected to the rope drum. So this is how we load it using the spring balance type loading system. So we have a scale that could be measured. So while loading it, so it changes, and that has to be noted each and every time. This is how we load it. So we have an exhaust gas connected to a calorimeter. So that's the exhaust gas pipe. We have an exhaust gas temperature that is T1 before the calorimeter. So that's the calorimeter, and this is the temperature T1 temperature sensor, and that's the T2 temperature sensor after the calorimeter. So we have T3 that water inlet calorimeter temperature sensor, and similarly we have an outlet temperature T4 water outlet of the calorimeter. That's a temperature sensor that's been shown. So that's the air tank, that's where the air gets intake, that's the air box, Following that, we have a filter, and following that we have, that's a pipe connected to, hose connected to the intake, that's a suction pipe, and that gets entered into the combustion chamber. And following that, we also have a fuel tank. Fuel gets connected through that pipe, and it follows the burette. Following that, that's the opening and closing valve, and following that burette, we have a pipe connected to the pump, diesel pump. It's connected to the diesel pump. That's the display for speedometer, and that says about speed of the crankshaft. Following that, we have a display for temperature sensors. So it is in terms of degrees Celsius, and following that we have a knob for selector, temperature sensor selector. We have single display, so we have T1, T2, T3, T4 that could be selected using that knob, and we have a burette, and that's where 10 ml of diesel consumption and that could be found. We have a stopwatch. Using that stopwatch, we can measure how much time is being taken for 10 ml of fuel consumption. And opening and closing of burette can be done using the valve that's been shown now. Followed by that, we have an manometers that use it to measure the flow rate of air, and H1 and H2 is what we are going to get, and delta H will be useful for the calculation. Following that, we have a rotometer of water. The flow rate of the water could be controlled, and usually we'll kept constant as 3 liters per minute. That's a standard that's being used here in this case. Now we are starting the engine, and we have a decompression lever open. So once we start the engine, we'll show how to take one of the trials of the reading, and we can by loading is the change thing, except that rest of the things are same. Loading now. Once the load is being applied on the engine, we can take the trial. We leave it for 10 to 15 seconds to reach its steady state. Following that, we can take up the reading. We are taking time consumed for 10 ml of fuel consumption for this particular load. You can observe that it is close to 1500 RPM. So it is 1500 RPM speed. So whatever we have done the experiment, the same thing has to be carried for 0 kgs of loading, 5, 10 kgs, 15 and 20, 25, up to 25 we can go, and the rest of the things are same, the procedure. Whatever we did the experiment now, that has to be taken for each cases of loading. So for every 5 kgs of increment, we need to carry this experiment. It can go up to 25 kgs. Okay, now we have already conducted the experiments, and typical calculation is something like this. We have a BP, which is 2 pi n T by 60 is a general formula. So n we have already, it's 1500 rpm, which we have kept constant. T, instead of T we have a load into radial length. Load is W, which we have tabulated, and 0.1 meters is what the radius of the brake drum, and by 60 is what we get a brake power, or also called as brake horsepower. Following this, we have a mass of fuel consumption, MF. We have a specific gravity of a diesel. We already know that it's 0.9. We have noted down in the observation. Into 10 ml, 10 milliliters of fuel consumption is what we have taken up for this time T. And if we substitute everything, we'll get it kg per second. Following that, we have an SFC, specific fuel consumption. It's nothing but amount of fuel consumed for every unit of energy it's going to produce, kilowatt hour, kg per kilowatt hour. So it is MF into 3600 divided by BP, which we have already calculated. Following thus, we have a brake thermal efficiency, BP into 100 divided by MF into CV. So that will be in terms of percentage, and we have the conversion factor of 100 next in multiplied. So obviously it should get in terms of percentage. Following that, we have an amount of volume of air that's been taken. We have a 0.65, that's an orifice coefficient of CD. It is pi d square by 4, that's the area of the orifice, and obviously with that we have a square root of 2g HA, or basically H air. H air is nothing but, how do we calculate H air is, that's something like this. We have a row of water, which is very well known to us. H of water, HW is nothing but delta H, that's a difference between the manometer, which we have already tabulated and calculated, and divided by rho of A or air, which we usually get it in terms of meters of air. So substituting H in meters of air should get us in terms of meter cube per second. That's the VA, volume of air. Following that, we have an air fuel ratio. To calculate air fuel ratio, we know rho, density of air, we know volume of air, and divided by mass of air, which we have already calculated. So we should get in terms of ratio, that's the ratio, we don't have any units for that. Following that, we have a volumetric efficiency, 60 VA into 100 multiplication factor for percentage. Along with that, pi d square L n by 2. So D, capital D and capital L represents diameter of the bore and stroke length of the piston. So all put together, it's n is nothing but again speed of an engine. So it's a volume into speed divided by 2 should get us the volumetric efficiency in terms of percentage. Following this, beyond this, we need to calculate indicated power. To calculate an indicated power, we need an frictional power. So frictional power, how do we calculate? By constructing an or by drawing a plot between MF versus brake power. So MF in terms of mass of fuel consumption in terms of kg per kilowatt hour, and BP in terms of kilowatt. So we draw a plot, or we just represents the point along with this plot, and if we extend beyond the zero line, the datum line, and it will touch somewhere the x-axis. So whatever that is measured is nothing but the FP. So usually that's an FP in terms of kilowatts, because BP is also in terms of kilowatts. The FP can be expected to be in terms of kilowatts. So to calculate the IP, we have to measure the BP in the graph, and we have to convert that to according to the scale whatever you have plot, and finally get the IP in terms of kilowatts. So something similar to indicate brake thermal efficiency, we have indicated thermal efficiency, brake thermal efficiency, where BP is being replaced by indicated power, which we have calculated in the early stage, is in terms of percentage. And finally the mechanical efficiency is nothing but brake power versus indicated power, and multiplication factor of 100 gets us in terms of percentage. So this is a typical calculation. We need to do it for each and every loading and tabulate it in a tabular column, typical tabular column. And along with this, we have to plot a graph of brake thermal efficiency versus brake power, indicated thermal efficiency versus brake power, volumetric efficiency versus brake power, and mechanical efficiency versus brake power, which is also called as Williams line. And this completes the experiment after having all these things. Thank you.